wherever. Welcome. This is Protalks by Superpro. I'm your host, Gaurav Tripathi, CEO and co-founder of Superpro.ai. And you're watching Protalks. Here we bring professionals from different fields who are our super professionals, super pros. And we talk to them about their journey, their successes, failures. And the intent is so that you are able to pick few things or few learnings from that. And today I'm back with another amazing super pro. And today, yes, we are going to talk about his journey and his successes, failures. But more important, he's going to tell us how human behavior influences success and failures. So, okay, with that, I'll just let me check if yeah, it's good. Fine. Okay, yeah, we are live. Cool. With that, I'll hand it over to our guest for today. Harsh, over to you. Short introduction, please.
Sure. So yeah, my name is Harsh, as you already know, and yeah, I'm working as an executive coach and motivational speaker. I have also done behavioral training, and I also do that quite a lot now and before. Because before Corona times, it was there were a lot of trainings happening. So yeah, that's me. I started my career with emphasis, and within a few years moved into training, and yeah, that's when I realized that I wanted more impact in my work and more fulfillment, and I think that's when I started looking at coaching. So I left the organization and went for sort of started doing it on my own, and it has been an interesting journey. So I would stick sort of posters myself and try and get customers, and was lucky. And so yeah, that's how it has been. At the moment, I'm associated with a lot of organizations with respect to training part, but yeah, into coaching I'm doing individually, and it is most fulfilling job for me at the moment. It's lovely to see change happening in people's life as a result of you somehow participating with them.
Wow, cool. Great. Okay. So Harsh, how I'll start right from the start as I usually do. So your early life, your early education, how was it? What did you study, and how what you had in mind at that time while you were studying?
That's an interesting question. So yeah, early studies where I had a bit of an idea. I was always very interested in communication, and at that time, coming from the place where I come from, and also I think the environment, we really didn't even know that. I really didn't even know that a job like the one that I do existed. But a part of me was, now looking back, I really see that there was a part of me which sort of knew that this is something that I would love to do. It's only after taking my work and then meeting some interesting people in my work, I realized that this coaching could be something like a career, and it's already there, and people people are super successful and doing things that I would love to do. So yeah, early on in my life, I was interested in communication. I was very interested in reading a lot of books, and thankfully, my work allows me to do a lot of reading now. But I didn't know that I'm a graduate, but my studies has little the formal studies, so to say, because yeah, that's what we call studies. I guess that's like the challenge of today's time, I guess. But yeah, my formal studies has little to do with what I do. What I learned at work and what I learned from my life is what I bring into my my coaching.
Hey, oh, same here. I can say the same. Yeah, my formal education has little to do with what I'm doing now.
And it's interesting because the moment we say studies, we normally associate with formal studies. We
Exactly.
learn
Yeah.
so much beyond our formal studies,
Yeah.
and it's priceless.
Yeah. Yeah. So, studies apart, but then you mentioned that the learning happens outside of studies. So, how was it? You know, the early. Right. So you said you had some idea around it already, but then how did you learn this itself that there is something called coaching, yeah, and that can be done as a, or that can be taken up as a career or business or whatever you call it.
Mhm.
When did you come to know that this is, yes, this is a real option that you can pursue in life?
So yeah, that was when I was working for Emphasis, um, and I remember, and I think that maybe there are people who will associate with it. I remember that I was not very happy with my work. So when you're not happy with what you are doing, and what you do is you start looking around, right? And that is natural. So I remember sitting in my sitting at my desk and in my cubicle, honestly, uh, to be fair, and sort of looking around what people are doing. And then my I remember now these ideas came later when I can associate it with now. I would look at people who were being coached, and at that moment I used to sort of stop my thoughts by saying you're being very arrogant. But I said I always sort of had a feeling that, you know what, I can do better, I can do good at that work. So there were business coaches, and I understand in the business coaches that I was at the moment looking at, that was a very limited. They were called business coaches, but they were mostly doing a lot of work which was domain specific, so how to improve what the people are doing. But yeah, that's when I said, maybe that's an option for me. That's something that I would that I can take up as a career. And then the moment those after that, immediately somehow it's, I don't know what was it, but not within few months I actually sort of saw myself getting into this job within the organization, and then of course I quit and I
Oh,
started.
wow. So I want to know more about this within the organization part. And by the way, when was it? Like how long back with
So
the
it
year
was,
exactly?
I think it was 2009 that I quit.
Okay.
Yeah, so just before that, I was thinking of, as I said, I was thinking about getting into coaching because
Hmm.
I was not doing good at my work, and I knew that I was not doing good at my work because I am kind of a person who I sort of I'm very polar. I don't know how healthy that is for people who might be listening to this, but I either like something or I don't like it. I can't stay in between. So I knew that, and I know myself. So I said, I knew that's a moment when I will, I'm going to take a call and I'm going to move out, do something else. So that was the moment, and immediately after that, I realized that I got a mail saying that there is a requirement within the organization, but I was so new to that to my team that I thought I might not be considered. But someone who was senior sort of pushed me into say applying, and thankfully, out of 18 people, I got picked up. And then also there was that interesting phase in my life when uh, I met an amazing manager, and that's when I really learned that people who are doing their task very good, who are extremely good at their work, they teach you more than any book can ever. So I
Wow.
met my manager, who is still an idol for me, Dipali Nigam. She is in Pune. But yeah, that's when I saw a sea change in my learning and outlook towards work and life. So yeah.
So will it be apt to say that you found a mentor in the organization?
Yeah, yeah. Again, not a formal one, but very yeah. Again, so I remember the first time she spoke to me. I am uh, sort of not. I'm not very I used to be, at least at that time, I used to be very, very introvert. I wouldn't speak a lot. But first day, I
Wow.
remember me sitting through my training, and then she just called me. And normally, I had seen that managers give you feedback, but she just spoke to me for like 10, 15 minutes, and it was just a casual conversation. And I still say that was the best feedback session I have ever been a part of. I
Wow.
learned so much from that I still, and it will be difficult to define, but still use it in my conversation with people. I still use that.
Interesting. And so when you did that, so in the organization, how was it? How was it taken? Like, so there were people who your peers, colleagues, or seniors, whatever they were. You were already in an organization, and then you said you started there with coaching. So how was it? How did people react to it?
So in organization, I was actually training because I was training sales and customer service team,
Mm-hmm.
right? But again, when so you sort of you get a training, a bunch of people to work with,
Mm-hmm.
and you do the normal training. But when people you sort of one feedback with people and all that, I think that's when, so from training to coaching, a lot of learning was already happening to me. I I remember initially itself, I started getting good vibes from a lot of people around. So I said, okay, that's good.
I
And
think a very naive question for the general audience.
Mhm.
What's the core difference that you see between training and coaching?
So in one word, coaching goes much deeper
Mhm.
because of course. So for example, and I think there are different coaches do function differently, but my coaching is 15 to 18 days, which is spread across to 3 months approximately, every week, one conversation. Now, it's not rigid, but
Mhm.
generally that's what we do. And you have one approximately 45 minutes to 1 hour conversation. The opportunity you get is you go very deep in coaching. So and that's why the impact shows. So, uh, and this has been again a revelation for me when I started my coaching practice. I came across my first client who was working for an IT company with 12, 15 years experience, and he came to me saying that I want you to coach me on communication skill and presentation skill. However, when the coaching ended, the feedback that he was really happy and like, I can, my relationship has improved with my, sort of within the family, extended family. And so it goes really deep. You might be coaching somebody for communication and their relationship in their marriage improves, and that's a
Wow.
side and that's those are the things that I've noticed. So coaching goes really deep. People do come with a, it's almost like they come with a diagnosis, like, they go to doctor and say, doctor, I have, because I've
Mm.
googled it, this is my disease, give me a medicine for this. And of course, the doctors thankfully do their own diagnosis. But yeah, when you work in coaching, it goes deep, and hence the influence, the impact sort of spreads in different areas of your life. Training has its limitations because it's one interaction and then gets over. And I think data also suggests that 70% of learning happens on the floor when you're
Mm.
working, right?
True.
Training has little, the limit because of the format, and not to say that trainers are good and bad. So the reason it goes deep and you can see impact in different areas, the satisfaction that you get as a result is also quite good. And the other thing that I like about coaching is at the end of the coaching program, you know whether you have succeeded or you have failed. In
Oh,
training,
okay.
in training, it's like,
True.
out of five, how was the trainer?
Yeah.
4, 5, 3, 2, and it's sort of, you're just trying to get to a number, but that kind of satisfaction, and you cannot sort of know whether you really
Right.
made them reach where they want to go.
So how did you? So you were there as a trainer, and then
Mhm.
you became coach. How did this transition happen? How did you prepare yourself for it?
So my preparation was all these side conversations that I would have with people. So I'm doing my training, and people come, Harsh, I have this problem. And I noticed, and this is where I connect with my early days in my life. When in school days, I used to read a lot of books and all that. This is when I noticed that from the response that I used to get from people who I would communicate with, I felt that the feedback was really good. People were very happy with that. So the side conversations, someone comes and says, you know what, I am, and this was like, yeah, 6 8 years ago. I stay with a few people in hostel, and this is the way they behave with me.
Mm.
I am quite shy. I don't know how to fight back. Those were the side conversations, right? Or in one-to-one feedback, someone's not performing, and if you build rapport, and I think that's such an important thing, skill in life. If you build rapport, people open up. That's when you have genuine conversation, and when you have genuine conversation, that's when you can see impact. Otherwise, again, I have done it, and it's a wrong thing. I'm just talking about it, but it's a wrong thing. I remember
Yeah.
someone coming to me in my early career and say, Harsh, so this is your target for next 3 months. Are you okay with it? And I'm like, I know deep within I'm not going to work on it. I don't even believe in it. But I said, yes, I'm fine. Definitely up to it. So yeah, I think rapport, when you really start talking to a person, so that those side conversations, when you build connection with people, you talk, that's when I realized that I can do it. Though my when I quit the organization, it wasn't very wise decision, but I had to, because I just wanted to do something that I was very interested.
Great. So when you decided that yes, this is what you are going to do, how did you start moving in that direction? How were the early days in terms of finding your niche? That so coaching as a term is very wide. How
Mhm.
did you come across that? Okay, this is these are the areas where I'm going to focus upon when I'm coaching people.
Okay, so uh, initially I had a vague idea. I learned by approaching people. So I would sort of put sort of posters around and say that this I can do coaching. I was lucky that I got a few clients, but that was the time when I found that people were one of the sort of broad name people have given to a lot of problem is called communication. So, and it's huge. It's huge. I think most of the things that a lot of things, in fact, if not most, 70, 80% of it, people just give it the name of communication. And so, and after working with some of them, I felt I was good at that. Though initially if I had the list that I had maintained, some other things were at the top. But yeah, communication, I felt I was good at it, and I started enjoying. The results were flowing, and I just moved along.
No. And I see that you conduct programs. There are multiple programs that you've been conducting. So how did you build up such a bouquet? Like these are the different areas.
Um, Actually, the names are too many.
Okay.
Basic principles, and not to say that these are uh, for different audiences. You just have to tailor make it, and it fits in. But so if you have to ask me, personal development is the area, and I think I normally classify it in terms of one is behavior, and the other one is communication part. So, but yeah, within that there are some subdivisions. And learning for me was like reading books and trying these things with people working while working. And I think, and this is what I normally communicate. So my idea, again, not this is not something. So people who buy this idea may have to have the risk that it is my idea. It's not something that I've learned from others. But what I feel is that most of the learning that we have is very unconscious. And I felt that I started becoming good at it because of my keenness, and I observed people and I saw people and I would look at people. Even now, if I'm sitting in an, in outside in a coffee day or an airport, I'm observing people.
Interesting. How do you observe people really? When you talk about observing,
Mhm.
what is it that needs to do?
So one of the things that I do, and I suggest to, I mean, I'm also in my coaching, I suggest to people is, the role play part. You look at someone, so there are a few things, of course. So that you look at two people talking, and let's say they are fighting, and they're already doing it for you. The drama is happening before you, and you sort of mentally get in and say, "What if I am this person? What will I say?" Or you say, "What if this person who is very good at handling such situations? What if he or she was there? What will they say?"
Hmm.
And the moment you start doing that exercise mentally, you don't have to do no effort, you don't have to pay anybody anything. The moment you start doing that, you get those neural connections within your brain that's responsible for all the behavior that you have starts building. So that's one thing that I normally I do, and I always suggest to people do that. Please do that. It helps them.
Okay, interesting. Um, uh, how so? Talking about the business front. So you started as a coach. Good. You had a desire to do it, and you could see that yeah, you will do great. But then coming to the business side of
Mhm.
things,
Mhm.
how was it? So how easy, how difficult was it for you to get those early clients?
So the first client I got it quite. I was very lucky, I would say. But and then there was another client that I worked with, and that was also someone found me on on Google, and I worked with them. But it was a lot of hard work, and I had not done any anticipation of that, so it was I took a hit. And I remember one day I was sitting in my room, and I just sort of connected to internet, and I said 9 o'clock, and I'm not getting up until unless I get my next client. And I had no idea how I'm going to get a client sitting with my laptop in a room. But and this was the move day when I'm really really disappointed because business not things are just moving at all. And what I did, and that day, sort of, sometimes when you're in difficulty, it puts you in a very resourceful state of mind. Again, depending on how you're handling it. I remember 9 to 3, and again after lunch break, again till 7:30, I sat there. And that day, the people who I connected with, people who I sent email to, people who I talked to, were my clients for next 3, 4, 5 years. So for me, Google.
Wow.
For me, Google. That's so.
Okay, interesting. Um, okay, now coming to the core topic. Sorry, I took more time because yeah, it was
That's
really
right.
interesting to know about your journey itself. So you say about the behavior and success and failure and the relationship between. So where does it relate? What has behavior to do with success or failure?
Yes. And I always start by complaining. Not because I want to sort of sound negative, but some things, you have to catch the bull by the horn. Uh, I think and this is my thought, people have to they can agree, disagree, but in a positive way, I still feel that our formal education is very insufficient in deciding our overall success. It's quite good in giving us knowledge about different areas, so science, maths, physics, all these topics. I feel that it works only on one aspect of our mind, which is memory. A lot of stress is given there.
Yeah.
And by the time you come out of college, uh, the only part of your brain that has done a lot of exercise is your memory. So a lot of memory muscle is built, and too much of muscle in one part of your body becomes sort of a challenge because it starts impacting other parts of body, mind negatively. So behavior, and I sort of a few weeks back, I was writing a quote, and I try to keep doing that on my Instagram account a lot. And I wrote this, and it's sort of strongly connected with it. Your most powerful resource is your behavior.
Wow.
Right? Your most powerful resource is your behavior. You can, and that's where probably, and I'm quite interested in reading about rags to riches story. But think of a person who had nothing, a football player who had nothing. All he had was a football, and they sort of did something out from that, and today they could be a multimillionaire doing that. So your most important resource is your behavior. You might have everything in the surrounding, but if you take it negatively, it doesn't really help. So how are you behaving right now? If we can sort of do a lot of effort in that one behavior right now, and your behavior is decided by what all is happening in your internal world. So someone is sitting right now, probably in the same position that you and I are, and they might be telling themselves such a powerful story that they might turn out to be much better than us. And someone might be sitting in a place like you and I are, and they might be telling us themselves such a sad, sobbing story that tomorrow, and we all have done that, isn't it? We all have done something. Just that how consistent you are in a certain behavior. So yeah, behavior is your biggest resource, but a lot of things that are happening inside you, and these are all abstract ideas like ownership, right? And I'm a big fan of it, and I sort of found someone on internet, a U.S. Marine, ex-Marine, and he talks about this idea of extreme ownership, and I like that. So if I'm sitting in a place today, I bought a house here, and if there is an earthquake, I would say, and I know that it might sound insane, but I would say the question that you ask after the earthquake and the house getting damaged is, what could I have done better? What more? And I know it sounds insane, but maybe by doing that consistently over a period of time, you have learned so much from life about how to improve versus, oh my God, why did this happen to me?
Yeah.
So those ideas about it, ownership, goals. And the moment, and again, this is a scary word I always say it is a very scary word because you learn the word goal, probably correct me if I'm wrong, if it connects with you or not, Gaurav, but I learned about this word goal only in corporate. We are so hypnotized by the corporate goal that this corporate goal has become goal, right? And after college, if you start talking to people about dreams, they might not show on your face, but deep within they're like, what are you talking about? This doesn't work in real life, right? So this is, of course, the behavior, but all these so many internal things that are happening inside, these ideas that are happening inside that decides where you become. I mean, where you go, what you become. I don't know. Did I answer your question or not?
Yeah. Yeah. So here, what do you think when where does it come from? As I see it, uh, now the resources are there. Yeah, so you can probably read something, you can go to YouTube and watch something, and you could get a sense of this, that okay, this is something which I have to do. Yeah, or yes, so ownership, goal, yeah. But still we don't find people really really practicing it or internalizing it. What do you see? What's missing?
Uh, if I have to buy something good, I have to be ready to pay the price. And people don't want to pay the price.
Wow.
So the price is discomfort. The price is, and I see it in people who have got loads of experience, Gaurav, loads of experience. I see it in my work and beyond work. I think more of learning is beyond work. It's a wide opportunity area of learning. But one of the things I noticed recently, met a person, and the story that this person has been telling himself about his life is such a motivating story. You have to sort of almost go and say, "My God, you're super powerful. How can you live with this story?" Right? If you ask me about the story of my life, it can be told to you in many ways. Right?
True. Yeah.
But I can tell you the motivating way or the demotivating way. None of it is real. I can never present to you my real life. For that, you will have to live my life.
Right.
Am I right?
Right.
So everything that I tell you is a story, right? And that's where the power lies. You can tell yourself a powerful story about yourself, right? And this story, though it's it's an illusion, we tend to think it's reality. There are many versions of your story and my story, right? So which version do you hold on to, right? A version can say that, oh my God, those people were bad. My parents were this. I wasn't born in, metro city. I didn't go to the best colleges. Or you can tell yourself, my God, despite being there, I'm here,
Yeah.
right? So what the story? So people are not ready to, and like I said about ownership, for me, the journey starts at the point of ownership.
Mhm.
If something goes wrong, the next thing train. That's what I say to others. Do I do it all the time? No. Sometimes I fail. But the first thing that I should be telling myself is, I am responsible.
True.
I don't know how. I am responsible. Earthquake, tsunami, I am responsible. I don't know how. It is not real. It is untrue at times. I don't care, but it helps me improve. And sometimes it might not. But I have to tell myself. So that's, you know, so probably if I have to tell somebody, where do you start the journey? Start the journey at ownership. Do you own
Mhm.
your, all the mistakes of your life? Uh, so one of the things that, again, it's something that happened to me. And I think I was around when I was very, very young. I was very, very young. But of course, it was unconsciously happened to me. I had to take a call. Do I want to hold on to someone's hand and move in life, or do I have to take my own decisions? And this was because something was happening around me, and I said I would love to take my own journey. I'll be responsible for my own journey. But then a part of me said that then if you fail, you will have to take all the ownership also. And I think I took a few days, but then I had to say that I will take my own decisions in life. Yeah, it hurts at times when you know that you were so wrong, but that's where you have to, until unless you say I'm responsible, journey never starts.
True. So there's ownership, behavior, goal. Where does a coach come in?
I think the coach comes in everywhere.
Okay.
The coach comes in everywhere. So, and yeah, I was talking to a very senior coach. I was actually attending a webinar uh, last week, and he said that this was so there was some discuss. Some people have been talking about it. Organizations having their internal coaches, and a lot of people, like always, with artificial intelligence coming in, people have already started complaining, and the line that you see on headlines and all that you see is that it will take away your job, which is so negative. So internal coaches and a lot of coaches are like, oh my God, they will take away our job. And this was very, very senior person, I think based out of Singapore, and he's an American. And he said this, that don't worry, the world needs a lot of coaches. There are so many things that are happening. People are, so for many in many areas, coaches can help, because coaches are just someone who can have a very deep communication with you, and they sort of enable you to find your own potential.
Right. So how do you decide, or how do you realize that you need a coach?
How do you?
How do you realize?
Mhm.
When do you realize, or how do you figure out that I need a coach?
Uh, Pain.
Mhm.
So I no, I don't know. I don't 100% believe. I've not given it a thought, but a lot of people say that you should normally have a coach. I was listening to a coach who said that I am a coach, and her belief system was that if I don't have a coach for myself, I'm not doing justice to my coaches. But I think pain is one area, and I feel that people should reach out to coaches and say, "Can you help me in this or not?" Because I see a lot of coaches also are niche coaches. They are coaches. They are coaches only for women entrepreneurs, or that segment is also there. But if you ask me honestly, Gaurav, one of the reasons that I took up felt that it can be it's something that can help almost I mean a lot of people. Probably what some of the areas now. This is my belief. Some places where someone who's not even started career, for someone who for a coach like me might not be useful, but someone who has worked for 3 4 5 years, after that they may. So it's a good thing for people to reach out to coaches, and I think most of the coaches are actually waiting to hear from people saying that, hey, can you help? But
So
yeah, pain is one area. Pain.
if I come to you as an individual and
Mhm.
I'm looking for a coach,
Mhm.
where do I start? How do I start?
So normally people start by saying, I have this disease and this is the medicine I want. But yeah, normally the good thing to start is describe what is it that
Yeah.
is problem for me. I have a
So
bad man.
it's like, okay, yeah, my sales is going down. I need it to go up.
Yes, so yeah, that's a good point to start. My sales is going down, and so that's where you stopped. A lot of people start complaining about, my team's not good, and that discussion goes there. But yeah, so that's one good interesting place to start from, and then the coaches will ask you question, and they will sort of figure it out. So your sales going down, when you say down, what was it? So, a lot of questions, a nice discussion, healthy discussion goes in, and that
Yeah, so
discussion is done with two.
I'm asking purely from your perspective. Yeah, if I come to you, yeah,
Oh, okay.
how do we start? Right? How do you take your coaches, and how does it start? What's the
Okay,
process?
okay. So this is a real play happening right now. Okay. So your sales are going down. How? I mean, for how long has it been going like this?
For 6 months.
6 months. And what do you think? Where do you think is the challenge lying?
Oh, my team isn't performing well, and I have hired good people, but still, I don't see why they are not performing.
Hmm. Okay, brilliant. So if I have to ask you, and what's your target, just to say, for the next 6 months, 1 year, what is your timeline and what is your target?
Yeah, and in next 6 months, I really want to capture the market, and I'm really looking at a sales of $1 million in next 6 months.
Mhm. So let me take you to 6 months, just for some time. Now you're 6 months later. Let's say we are meeting after 6 months, and you look back to today. And so, what is it? What are those three things that you have done right 6 months later that you're so excited about? I did this, and this, and my sale has exploded. What are those three things that you will tell me 6 months later?
Okay, wow, that's really very okay. So yes, so this is how it happens. So it's a series of questions and answers wherein you go in deeper into it, right?
Yes. Yeah, so it's yeah, it's so again, I just wrote some time back. It's just a beautiful conversation. It's nice talking. It's Good, powerful conversation. What the beauty of this conversation? It is powerful. The impact is felt, behavior changes, and that's a very healthy, powerful, beautiful conversation.
So right now, what are kind of programs that you're running, or what is it that people can approach you for? What kind of coachings?
So again, so just let me know if this answers your question. Uh, I feel very strongly, and I'm ready to learn. And I have to be, because sometimes we build very strong beliefs. But I feel that, uh, apart from some specific cases, there people don't have professional challenges. People have personal challenges, right, which manifests in their professional life. Likewise, people don't have professional goals, they have personal goals. Of course, there are professional goals which are just milestones towards their professional personal goals. I might have a professional goal, but that's just a milestone to take me towards a personal goal. So at the moment, I think one of the things that I do when I'm meeting somebody is, in terms of coaching, is I have to make a distinction between, are they trying to learn, leadership strategies kind of a thing, which I'm not into. I work with the human part of it, the human technology, so to say. If I can create, if I see an opportunity to make some difference by working with the person, and person's behavior changes, uh, and that impacts work, that's good. For me at the moment, uh, people do approach me for a lot of communication issues, office promotions. I wanted to work with the so one of the clients I'm working with is, I want to work with companies, the topmost companies, Google and companies on in that line in US. So I want to work with them. Can you help? Now, the only distinction I have to make is, can I make any difference in this person that will help him reach there? That's fine. Leadership strategies, and I am not into that. But yeah, if the person can be changed, if there are personal uh, certain changes within the person, which covers a vast number of people, uh,
Mhm.
that's when I can definitely help. So that's one distinction I try to make in my first conversation. Sometimes it does happen that I feel that I can, but if the other person is very strongly feeling about some sort of strategies on the outside, some models of the leadership kind of a thing that I'm not very good at. I don't want to work in those areas. Then I have to be sort of part ways.
Hmm, interesting. So, how do you see people getting started with you? So, going to the Superpro page, and I saw on your Superpro page, say hello. Is that the right way to start? If I'm interested in talking to you.
I would love to. So it's nice. I think a lot of times, I think I have done it, and I see. I think a lot of people. The moment you mention a label, the moment you see someone sitting in a big office, you don't. Somewhere a part of us stops make them believe that you're ultimately they are human beings, right? And if you put a big label on your table, a lot of people will sort of, my God, I don't know.
Yeah.
So they don't approach. I want people to approach. That's one. And by the way, the say hello thing is something that I copied from one of the members of your team. And I said that sound that, and I'm very good at copying. I copy a lot, so I think that's most powerful way of learning. So I think it was, if I'm not getting the name wrong, Vijay Goel.
Yeah.
I think I saw something on that line in his profile. I said that's interesting, because and then I looked at my profile and said, oh my God, it looks so, it's so out of touch. It's all so robotic and so sort of professional. Nothing personal there.
Right. Good. Okay. So, what happens after the first conversations, and what's the point? So, you mentioned that yes, you should see that the person is ready to, that the person can be changed, and there is something that can be changed in the person. That's when you will take the person as a coachee. Yeah, but again, is it like a standard program or something that okay, the way you mentioned earlier that it's a 15, 18 days program over these many months, so 1 week a session. Is it a standard program or that also you change your device based on who the person is?
Yeah, at the moment, and I see a lot of coaches have different way of working. Some do work for like 6 months and then a year, uh, and that also to me sounds like a great idea. Uh, at the moment, I have been, and this is something that I've been doing like for forever. I take it as a 15-18 conversation challenge, and
Mhm.
my goal, as you know, for me is that within that time I have to bring a transformation. And I look for two things. One is 3 4 conversation, and there has to be a breakthrough moment when you look at the person and during the conversation you see, wow, something inside has shifted.
Okay.
And then it is just you being there and the person does everything themselves. You just being there as a guide. However, yeah, in terms of set, so for each person it is different, but I have fixed tools, right? And I think these are a lot of tools are all internationally accepted tools, and all the coaches do use it. I also work on a 14-point program. These are 14 ideas, that really shape a person from within. These are the that sort of either are aligned or misaligned, and they either give you the result that you want. They obviously give you the outcome, but is that the outcome that you want, or is that different from that? So these 14 pointers and some of the fixed tools of creating a shift within the person, so that's is standard, but for each person the conversations are different. Conversations has to be customized. That's my personal feeling. That's what how I work.
Interesting. And um, how does it go further? This is kind of the point which you mentioned about training, that it's a one-time thing, and
Mm.
yeah, sure, people. But isn't the same thing about coaching? Like, say, I have these many conversations, but at some point of time, it ends. Like, if it's a 3 month thing, 6 month thing, or
Mhm.
whatever,
Mhm.
it's going to end.
Yeah, yeah.
What happens after that?
So if I have to give you a metaphor, training is like you take a hammer and a nail and you hit on the nail and then you leave it. Coaching allows you to hammer on that nail again and again for a consistent period. That does the work. So the shift is internal. So if internal shift has been created, that's fine. So for example, uh, but the results are outside. Your results will have to show outside. I can't say that internal shift has happened, and so the coaching is successful. You have to see that result on the outside. Like sales has to improve, right? Or sometimes some people are also happy with a lot of external shift, but internal shift. So I met someone I worked with in 2019, uh, and he was like, okay, I don't feel stress at all now. I know where I'm going. I know I'm going. I'm happy most of the times, which for him was a great result. So the difference between coaching and training is, like, again, coaching you do stop, but you get enough time to work so much, consistently on those pieces which need to be worked on, that that shift is enough for you to work. All of us are actually geniuses, so a little bit of change because we have sort of trained ourselves to behave in a certain way. It's, I don't see those challenges, or I don't see those opportunity areas, but when a coach comes in from the outside, they do see it, and that shift is created, and then they can part ways. Of course, there are some people who do choose to stay with you. They say, okay, fine, I would like to work with you more. I want more of it.
Interesting. Um, in general, again, this could be very vague question, but what's the is there something called a success rate which fits in here, that the number of people that come to you, you are able to say that, okay, these many people are really they get what they want, or that's where you are able to bring an impact?
Uh, so till date, if you ask me, and I don't say that this will stay, but if I have to count with myself, I see one failure.
Wow.
And that's when that moved me to thinking that should a coach hire a client? And when I say hire a client, are some people ready to be coached?
I-
So that's one thing I have to do, because coaching does not mean that you will do some magic. And in one place I tried to do magic in the field. So yeah, other person has to be ready. And when I say ready, if someone is really feeling some, facing some challenges in their life, they are very good, very ready. If someone is everything's going on, and they just for some fancy reason want to get a coach,
Mm.
and can you believe it? There are people who want it. Uh, so yeah, then it might not. But yeah, success rate. So the way the conversation, because there's so much work done in this. In coaching, I've read about very interesting coaching. People like Erickson and Bandler and all these people. They have done so much of work that any coach is just, if whoever has done read all these things, tried to practice these things, they're just standing on the shoulders of some giants. So the conversations are designed in such manner that you will definitely have some change. It's not possible that there will be no change. Internally there has to be some shift. That gives an immense, that takes away a lot of pressure from a coach, because they know that the conversations, the tools that they use are so powerful that the shift will happen. It's not possible that nothing will change.
Wow. Great. Now, you mentioned this earlier and later in different words, but it ultimately boils down to the fact that, okay, are you coachable? Yeah,
Mhm.
so people are coachable,
Mhm.
but how should one become coachable?
Oh, so anyone who is sincere in their, sincere. Okay, I'll not use too many. I'll simplify it because I'm talking in quotes now. So anyone who is, uh, you don't have to become coachable. If there is a genuine dream that you're chasing, that there are two things that people are driven by: pain and pleasure. Right? And I'm not saying this. Tony Robbins talks a lot about it. Only two things. But the sad reality is that more people are driven by pain than by pleasure.
Mhm.
Right? So there could be two coachable coaches. One is who's facing some pain, and someone who is like, I have a dream. And one of the persons I worked with like a few years ago had a dream that I want to go to US. I want to get a certain kind of college, and I want to. And of course, this was someone who had some work experience, uh, and had some has had. So that was a dream. He's sincerely and is he sincere about their dreams? And some people are facing some challenges. I want to get out of it. The number of those people will be more, but yeah, someone is sincere about their work. For some reason they are facing some challenges. As long as you're sincere, you are very ready to be coached, very ready to be
Wow. Okay, great. Yes, we have just 4 minutes left. Um, any concluding remarks from your side?
coached. So again, I started my career in sales. I learned a lot from sales about human behavior. So that's the side learning. I'm such a big fan of side learning from everything. But sales is not a very. It is sort of in some way places it is infamous job. But
Yeah.
I will do my selling anyway. because all of us are salespeople.
Yes.
But I will say that not to say that approach me, but I will say to anyone who is working, has got some sort of work experience, and if you're really want to reach faster towards your goal, or if you're facing some challenges, speak to some coaches. I won't say hire a coach. Speak to some coaches, find them. You are surrounded by a lot of coaches. Speak to some of the coaches, stay connected with them, or just speak to some of them, just to figure out how things are happening. And it is, though it might sound like me selling coaches, but it is mutually beneficial relationship, and it's a very powerful relationship. So you should be in touch with some coaches, whether you hire them, not hire them, that's obviously a choice. But I really feel, especially in our country, in India, it's not as popular as it should be. A lot of people can achieve a lot more. Just that the only differentiating factor is that they don't have a coach. And uh, yeah, that's about it. So talk to people.
Great. Okay, so guys, you heard it. If you are watching it live, you hear it now. If you are watching the recording, yes, you still hear it. Uh, Harsh is available. He's available on Super Pro. He has already said, say hello. So please, the link to Harsh's Super Pro page is there in the chat. It will be there in the comments or description as well, wherever this video, wherever you are watching it, be it on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or wherever else, you will find the link to Harsh's Super Pro page. Please use that. Go to his page, say hello to him. Yeah, and as he said, yes, speak to a coach. Yeah, forget about hiring a coach, that happens later, but at least speak to a coach, see how a coach can help you really chase your dreams, or even achieve your get to your goals. Great. Thanks a lot, Harsh, for joining us tonight. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it a lot, and I learned a lot. I'm sure everybody who will watch this will get to learn a few things for sure.
Thanks a lot, Gaurav. Thanks a lot. It was interesting conversation with you. Yeah, thank you very much for inviting.
Yeah, our pleasure. Great. With that, we close tonight's session. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. I'll be back with another Pro Talk next week. Till then, thank you. Bye bye. Happy Dhanteras and happy Diwali and a happy weekend to all of you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.